Many thanks for joining us here on News Desk to our very first story this morning. And one of the High Court judges implicated in a recent corruption expose in the country's judiciary, Paul Uta Dery, has petitioned President Mahama over alleged death threats on his life. Justice Dery, in a statement, is asking the president to direct an investigation into alleged death threats on him published on the Facebook page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Joining me in studio now with the extracts of that statement is Joy News' Raymond Akwa, and he's joining me now in studio with a lot more. So, Raymond, good morning. Thanks for joining us. So, where from these threats, Justice Dery speaks of?
So, the justice is complaining about a Facebook comment on the Facebook poster story from Graphic. So, he says that there was this particular story in the Daily Graphic of page 42 on the 15th of February, which actually was posted on the 9th of February. This particular story had commentary. You know, like media institutions have Facebook pages that they reproduce the stories and share it with the public. Now, he's saying that on Graphic's page, there was this gentleman called Cephas Kuma who posted this statement, quote, "This man's intransigence is making some of us revise our notes on Amate Ekwe and Cole's killing of the 3 High Court judges and the retired army officer. For how long will these legal gymnastics last?" So this commentary is what the learned justice believes that is dangerous to his existence. It's threatening his living as a human being, and that he feels threatened by it. So the CID, which is the recipient of this particular letter, is actually asking the director of the Criminal Investigation Department to review this particular threat, get the person, accost him, and know whether he is of a real threat to the life of a justice of the High Court who is currently in some trouble. So that is his main problem, that he feels threatened by the very commentary that he is intransigent, and that by his actions, the gentleman is saying that his actions are reminiscent of what happened during Amate Ekwe's killing of the High Court judges, you know, in the military around 1979. The incident where some, judges were killed. Yeah. If you go to the Supreme Court, you call them the Marthas. You see their pictures in front, their pictures in front of the Supreme Court with their statues also attached to those ones. The problem here is that he believes that a similar treatment could be meted out to him if the gentleman Cephas Kuma is not checked.
I see. So how does the president come into all this? Because based on what you're saying, this letter is addressed to the CID.
To the CID. He is referencing, he first petitioned the president.
Okay.
He petitioned the president to help him unveil Anas Aremea Anas's Tiger IPI, because in that particular petition, he says the Tiger IPI, which sent an earlier petition to the president for his removal in that particular judicial corruption scandal. Yeah. He believes that the body that is petitioning against Justice Dery, cannot be properly identified. At some point in time, it is Tiger IPI. At some point in time, it's another investigative body. And even in some cases, it's being couched as stallion institution supposed to be doing other works. So he's worried about how that particular institution that wants his removal as a justice of the High Court is postured and is actually positioned, and the public knows it to be. So that's the petition he sent to the president, because Tiger IPI had sent an earlier petition for his removal. It is this particular story on the petition that the gentleman was commenting on the story on the Facebook page and went ahead to say these things that the judge feels is threatening his life.
Okay. Now, do you know whether the CID has received this petition of his and whether or not they're actually acting on it in the first place?
The CID is tight-lipped on the matter. What they are, if you get sources within, they will tell you that, oh, okay, so we are yet to officially have a copy of it. Just that the learned justice has already distributed, his lawyers have already distributed copies of this particular statement. But he says we are yet to have an official copy of the statement.
So until that is done, they
cannot start. Well, the judge, I don't know what the current of affairs is now, because one, he was a judge entitled to police officer protection. But what is happening now? You know, he's going through some judicial review. Recently, his case was thrown out. That made it possible for him to go back to that committee, which he was challenging at the Supreme Court. That means he has to go back to that committee. That committee insists he should be suspended first and foremost before they continue with the activity of seeking to remove him or seeing verifying the very facts that Anas Aremea Anas and Tiger has presented to him. So if that is done, then he may be stripped of his protection as a judge whilst the case is continuing. If he has no protection, then the police will have to investigate, get the person involved, see whether it is a real threat, then proceed with other actions they may have to do. Maybe give him back his protection.
Okay. Raymond, many thanks for that update. And that was Raymond Dakwa bringing us a lot more on that particular. But let's still stay with the courts and these judicial issues. And Accra High Court will today, this morning, hear a case filed by suspended national chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Paul Afoko, challenging his suspension. Now, Mr. Afoko filed a suit in 2015 after he was suspended from his position. He's in court challenging the punishment meted out to him, which he says is unconstitutional and illegal. Mr. Afoko wants a constitutional interpretation of the NPP constitution as basis to declare the suspension as null and void. We'll be speaking to a correspondent on this particular bit because we are picking up information that, okay, well, I'm told Kwete Nate is on the line. So, Kwete, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Tendene.
So Kwete, what happened in court today?
The court adjourned the case to the 24th of March 2016,
Okay.
and it is to allow both parties to audit the witness statement and then discover accounts.
Okay.
Both parties are expected to serve each other, and then they would reappear in court at a later date for the trial to begin.
Okay, but are we also picking information that Mr. Afoko is set to hold a press conference sometime later this morning? How true is that?
Yes, he is holding a press conference today. So,
okay. Do we know whether or not he will be speaking to this particular issue that's in court, or really what's he expected to say?
I'm yet to find out what
he
would be speaking of.
Right. Kwete Nate, many thanks for your time. We'll come back to you shortly for a lot more from that particular press conference by the suspended national chairman of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Paul Awenteme Afoko. Let's now go to Kwashiman, where we are told that last night several vehicles there were damaged in a multiple car collision at the Kwashiman section of the George Walker Bush Highway. And the driver of an articulated vehicle is said to have lost control of the vehicle after his brake failed. The accident created heavy traffic on the stretch with no vehicular movement. Kobno Usu Amprechum was at the accident scene last night and has come through with this report.
When Joy News got to the scene, several of the damaged vehicles were still in the process of being towed away, whilst the articulated truck had climbed the pavement by the side of the road with 3 of the crashed cars under it. Eyewitnesses say the articulated truck lost control when it attempted to avoid collision with a stationary vehicle which had mechanics carrying out repairs on it right in the middle of the N1. The truck bumped into one vehicle, resulting in a chain of collisions which affected 15 cars.
Then all I heard from my back, big bang, and then continuous bangs. Then I was hit on my back. Then my vehicle kept moving forward. And then all of a sudden we saw that there were a lot of cars all damaged, everybody was stuck.
These are all part of the 15 cars that were damaged. Luckily, there were no casualties, and the people sustained just some small degrees of injuries. Now, I've been speaking with some of the drivers, and they tell me they escaped from your windows. Some also ran away, leaving their cars to their face. Safety first. From Kwashiman on the N1, my name is Kwabno Swamprechum.
And here in Accra, in the studios of Multi-TV, my name is Kwabna Chenche Henebwat. You're watching News Desk here on your Joy News channel here on Multi-TV. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll bring you a lot more stories. Stay with us.